Brahm Sutras presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma. An introduction. The Brahm Sutras constitute the leading concepts of Vedanta that have been put together in an ordered and systematic manner. The sutras consist of the sayings of the statements of the Upanishads that show Brahm as the whole and complete reality, as the ground and support of the world, as of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda, or existence, consciousness, and bliss, and which is also the ultimate and supreme object of all meditation, and which is the final goal of release, of salvation, of moksha of all mankind. The authorship of the Brahm Sutras has been attributed to one Bhadrayan, who has further been identified in the Indian tradition as none other than Rishi Ved Vyas, the compiler and the author of the great epic, the Mahabharata, which is by far the largest epic of all mankind. The Brahm Sutras are also known by various other names, such as Sharirik Sutra, Vedanta Sutra or Vedanta Darshan, Bhikshu Sutra, and Uttar Mimamsa Sutra. It is called Sharirik Sutra because it is concerned with the nature of the destiny of the soul that is in the sharir, that is in the body. It is called Vedanta Sutra or Vedanta Darshan because it is the text of the sayings, it is the text of the statements of the Vedanta, of the Upanishads. It is called Bhikshu Sutra because the people who it is felt are the most competent to study it are the bhikshus, are the wandering monks, are the sannyasis, the renunciates who have renounced worldly life. It is called Uttar Mimamsa since it is an inquiry into the final and concluding sections of the Vedas. The Brahm Sutras consist of 4 chapters. Each of these 4 chapters is dedicated to certain specific issues that are further discussed in sections. Each chapter has 4 sections. Thus, the Brahm Sutras consist of 4 chapters and 16 sections. These 4 chapters and 16 sections between them contain 555 sayings or statements of the Upanishads. The first chapter of the Brahm Sutra is the chapter on harmony. The 4 sections of this chapter give us a harmonious construction of all those terms that would ordinarily not denote or mean Brahm, but when taken in the context that they have been used, their true and intended meaning is inferred. The second chapter and its 4 sections deal with non-conflict or avirodh, in which the possible objections to the concepts and to the statements of the Upanishads that are contained in the Brahm Sutras are discussed and analyzed. The third chapter and its 4 sections discuss the means to attain release, the means to attain salvation or moksha, through sadhana or meditation, or through appropriate practice and effort. The fourth and final chapter and its 4 sections deal with the fruit or the phal of such sadhana, meditation, or practice. Briefly, the main concepts of the statements of the Brahm Sutra are summarized as the following. The world that we see around us, that consists of animate beings that have consciousness, and inanimate objects that have no consciousness. The cause of the existence and the maintenance of this world that we see is Brahm. Brahm has two natures. One is the para or the otherworldly nature of Brahm, which is responsible for the consciousness in beings, which is responsible for conscious beings. And the other is the apara or the worldly nature of Brahm. This is responsible for the inert, for the inanimate objects and bodies. These two natures of Brahm are also its two powers. At the time of creation, Brahm uses both these powers, and at the time of destruction, at the time of dissolution of the universe, it absorbs both these powers into itself. Since the two natures are part of Brahm, they are not different from him. But because Brahm is also the shelter and support of these natures and powers, he is also different from them. Brahm is unique. It is always above its creation, whether animate, conscious, or inanimate, without consciousness. Brahm is different from and superior to its creation and to its powers. Brahm is both without attributes and it is full of countless beneficial attributes. It is both nirgun as well as sagun. Brahm is formless and it has form as well. Brahm is both sakar as well as nirakar. The collection of beings with consciousness is nothing but an aggregate of the otherworldly or the para nature of Brahm. And therefore it is a part of Brahm itself. And thus it is not different from Brahm. But still, it is Brahm that determines the fruit of deeds and of actions done by beings. Because Brahm is the controller and lord of all. Beings are by their very nature eternal. Their birth and their death are because of the body, and it is a formality. The transmigration of souls from one body to another body, or from one lok or world to another lok or world, is also because of the body, whether that body is physical or it is subtle. On reaching the supreme abode of Param Brahm, Parmeshwar, the wise and learned person has nothing whatsoever to do with the body created by nature. He no longer has any connection with the body created by nature. He is now whole and complete in his divine form. This is his state where he is free from all the bonds that had bound him to his physical body or to his subtle body. Some of those wise people who go by the path of the gods, by the Uttarayan path, they, on reaching the supreme abode of Parbrahm, merge with and become one with him, and thus they gain salvation or moksha. Some remain separate from him, and some at the time of final dissolution, at the time of final destruction of the universe, merge and become one with Brahm and gain salvation, moksha. For those people who go by the northern path of the gods, neither is night an obstacle nor is death during the period of the southern solstice or the southern path an obstacle for their salvation. There are no obstacles for him on his path to salvation. The doership of a person that it is he who does actions is in relation to the body and the senses, and it is just a formality. In truth, however, the cause of doership of beings is Parbrahm Paramatma. Jeev or being is not the doer in reality. The individual soul is great, it is magnificent, and it is limitless. The fact that at certain places it is shown to be of the size of a thumb and located in the heart is only with reference to the body. In reality, it is not so, since the soul is all pervasive and limitless. Those great, wise, and learned men in whose mind there is no desire of any kind left, who are always selfless in all that they do, and who have completed all their actions and works, they gain Brahm here in this very lifetime itself. Great, learned, wise men may perform all the actions prescribed in the scriptures for the public good. Knowledge of Brahm can be obtained at any stage in any ashram of life. It can be obtained in the stage of brahmacharya, in the stage of celibate studentship. It can be obtained in the stage of grihast, in the stage of a householder. It can be obtained in the stage of a vanaprasth, in the stage of a forest dweller. And it can be obtained in the stage of a sannyasi, in the stage of a renunciate, where one has renounced the world. A person has the right to Brahman knowledge in every ashram, in every stage of his life. Those who go to Brahmalok, they do not return. They are not born again. They are freed from the cycle of birth and death and attain final release. They attain salvation. They attain moksha. All the accumulated deeds, the pious and good deeds, as well as the sinful and bad deeds, the prarabdha of a wise and learned knower of Brahm are completely destroyed. And he has no connection whatsoever with new deeds and actions. When the prarabdha or the past accumulated good and bad deeds of a person have been completely exhausted, when they have lived out their course, then the present body of such a person perishes. It dies. And then he either goes to Brahmalok or he attains Paramatma here itself. The seeker after Brahma knowledge should also perform all sacrificial acts and all the works and actions of the stages of his life, of his ashram, in a selfless manner, without any expectation of fruit for such action. Calmness, serenity, control of the mind and the senses, the ability to analyze, the ability to distinguish and differentiate, and the ability to harmonize, and such other qualities. These are the essential attributes of a seeker after Brahm. Knowledge of Brahm is not a part of action or deeds. Parbrahm Paramatma can only be attained through Brahma knowledge. And during the phase of destruction or dissolution of the universe still remains in existence in a latent, unmanifest state. These, then, in brief, are some of the main concepts of the Brahm Sutras. In this presentation of the Brahm Sutras are being presented in 17 videos. 1 video is for introduction, and 16 videos, one for each section. 1 video is for each section of each of the 4 chapters. Source material for these uploads has been taken from 2 sources. One is the English translation of the Brahm Sutras titled Brahm Sutra Bhashya of Shankaracharya by Swami Gambhiranand, as published by publication house Advait Ashram, Kolkata. And the second is the Hindi translation of the Brahm Sutra titled Vedanta Darshan Brahm Sutra, published by Gita Press, Gorakhpur. May Parbrahm Paramatma bless us all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om.